I know a lot of people. I always tell people I know a lot of people. I'm not friends with a lot of people. I just end up knowing a lot of people. Anyway, we're the black
Big
people in Kansas
facts.
City. And so this
We
one like,
here.
I didn't know there was this many black women in Kansas City. I'm like, there's lots of black women in Kansas City.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Young Black Mrs. I'm your host, Morgan F., and I am back jump-starting our series about friendship. I shouldn't say our, it's mine. My series about friendship, kind of in your 30s, really. Although my guest is not quite there yet, she likes to hang out with the 30-year-old. So we'll just welcome her in. And my guest, Danny from Black Women Make Friends KC, the Facebook group that she created, will be joining me just a little bit later to tell me all about her Facebook group, how she cultivated and grew that group, as well as how she believes you should take conversations offline. And then we kind of just get into a potpourri of conversation about the different type of friendship qualifications, and so much more. So please stick around for that conversation. But let's go ahead and hop into some segments because that's my part. Shaking my curls, I'm shaking my curls, I'm shaking my curls, shaking my curls, I'm shaking my curls, I'm shaking my curls, I'm shaking my curls, shaking my curls. So the biggest shaking my curls I am going to do is mostly about me not releasing this series. Um, and in total transparency, I started recording this series late summer of obviously of last year. Um, well, I guess not late. Yeah, no. It's kind of like early fall, actually. Yeah, early fall of last year. And I sat on it because I'm like, oh, I had a whole thought. I'm like, oh, I want to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. But I've been reading a book by Tasha Cobbs, and it's called Do It Anyway. And I kind of felt like, oh, I needed this to be this perfect way. And I'm like, no, like, release it. Just drop the content. And so I say all that to say, if you're holding on to something, or if you have a dream or a thought in your head, or a project, or a trip you want to take, or a friend you want to make, do it, you know? Like, do it. If it's within your means to go to the place, if it's within your means to buy the thing, if you're able to do the thing, do it. Um, Being afraid of what may or may not happen is really not serving you. So do it, you know? So I guess that's what I'm shaking my curls at. Just be like Nike and do it. Take the leap and go ahead and do it. Life is about taking chances, and mistakes are worth making. I think that's how that song goes. I don't know. But at any rate, let's get on to the next segment and just do the thing, okay? I'm doing the thing. You do the thing, okay? Hello and welcome to the main event. I've got a special guest with me. Danny, say what's up.
Hey.
Hey, girl. I'm doing well. I'm just out here trying to make a friend. So I'm glad to talk to you about this awesome topic. No, for real. I don't know how old you are. I'm in my 30s and life be life. And I just feel like it was so easy to make a friend when you were in like elementary school because everyone was your buddy. You just, oh, you like the Backstreet Boys? Me too. Oh, you like the color pink? Me too. Did I
Exactly.
touch? Did I hit or are you an NSYNC fan? I don't know. No judgment.
Yeah, that was, I'm in my late 20s. So I wasn't exactly in
Oh,
that,
okay. I'm
that's
trying
my
to think of
older
what was
sister,
what,
you know.
what was what y'all like One Direction? Was that your age group, girl? I don't know.
Kind of, yeah. One Direction was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of who else was of that time. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
Mine was
at any
big.
rate, mine must be throwback. Oh man. I was gonna say B2K, but I'm like, no, I feel like that's still me.
That's still, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, rub it in. Make me feel like the old lady today. It's all good. But it's lovely
Right.
to have you. I'm excited to talk with you about your Facebook group that you created.
Happy to be here.
Black Women Making Friends Kansas City on
Mhm.
Facebook. So, first of all, just introduce yourself to my listeners and then we'll just get into chit chat.
Well, I'm Danny. I am 27. I'll be 28 in a month exactly, actually. Um, I have a daughter. She is 3.5, starting preschool tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. Um, and born and raised Kansas City, Kansas. Been throughout the metro area though. As much as people like to, separate it, I cross back and forth between state lines constantly.
Yeah.
So, I just say I'm from the Kansas City area.
Right.
I've lived here my whole life. I worked here. I work at home currently, and I created Black Women Making Friends KC 3-ish years ago. It's grown crazy, wild within the
Mm,
past year and a half-ish. We grew up now, we're at a little over 5,000 ladies in the group.
wow.
Um, and I just plan events, I start discussions, I help people create friendships as adults, and we go over, expectations of creating friendships as adults. It's a
Mm,
lot different than
it
when you're
sure
a
is.
kid. You have proximity. When you're in school, when you're in college, you're always by each other. It's very easy to get to know people that way. And as adults, you don't have as much time. You don't have everybody has responsibilities, you have kids, you have all kind of stuff. And understanding how to be a good friend as an adult is very important, just as much as creating a good friendship. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah,
that's
well,
me.
I liked a lot of things you already touched on, but I want to just kind of know from your own personal experience, because for me, I can totally resonate with wanting to make friends at my age, even
Mhm.
kind of in my late 20s, like how old you are, 28, about to be. It was weird because I was getting married, so I felt like I had some friends, but not for real, for real. It was just like it was a lot going. So I was just curious, what was the inspiration behind the group for you?
So I'm from the area, as I said. So I saw a lot of times. So run it back. There's a global Black Women Making Friends group that I helped admin. And so I started seeing a lot of Kansas City ladies hopping in there and introducing
Mhm.
themselves. So I started a group chat, and they moved it to a group. And then we moved it to my current group last year. And so it started because I was admitting that group, and I really love that group because I'm very extrovert. Like, I'm a true extrovert. I love to meet people. I love to talk. Now public speaking is not my
Right.
strongest suit. I
But
still
it's
get a little
just you and
nervous
I.
talking to people, but I still do well. I get really nervous talking in front of a lot of people. But I love to just go up and talk to people. I get that from my
Mm.
mom, I believe. My mom is very much an extrovert also. But I can talk for days. So I just like to get to know people, develop friendships that way. And then I've noticed a lot of people like that I've known, or people that I've made friends with because I've been around Kansas City for a while. Um, they always talked about how they want friends and how they, I really want a friend. I really wish I had somebody to go to such and such with. And then, you get all those talks about bad friendships and friendships ending. And so I wanted to have those discussions in a safe space with Black women in our group. So we have some of those discussions at our events and in the group. And just learning how to be a good friend, because everybody has expectations for other people that they don't put on themselves. And so
Right.
it's very easy to blame other people for the end of a friendship or why things didn't work out, and really being very realistic with how it comes to being a friend and as an adult, like giving grace to people when it's needed. A
Hmm.
lot of people don't want to do that, and so we had those tough conversations about what to expect, especially when you're just meeting up with somebody for the first time. You're not going to hit it off with people all the time, and it's very much like dating. It's very
Yeah.
much like like these relationships are created the same exact way as when you're creating a romantic relationship. But I noticed that people don't give as much grace to the
Oh,
friendship relationships as they
yeah.
do towards romantic relationships. So
Yeah.
I love to have those conversations and talk about, being a sister with other Black women
Mm.
in the area.
So
But yeah.
I wasn't familiar of the black, just the overarching Black women make friends one. So
It's
that's
so
interesting. But
yeah.
how long ago was that in existence? Do you
So
know?
that one actually, the one I was admitting for actually was closed down. There's another
Mm,
one that I'm in. There's a few other big ones that I've joined that are global ones. But that one was like 5-ish years ago. I was an admin for that one for a few years before I even started this group. So
gotcha.
yeah, so it's
So
been
I know you had mentioned how quickly it grew. I'm curious, like, well, first, did you have any challenges getting started with that group, or did you just like slide right in and boom, bow? What happened there?
So when we first started out, it wasn't as structured as it is now, that's for sure. I'm very structured now with what events I have at different times of the year. Before it was very much just small gatherings. My first brunch that I did with the group had maybe 8 people there.
Mm.
And now like we have 40 spots and they're gone in 5 seconds. So it's like that first brunch was literally just 8 of us at the Phoenix. Okay. And so that was the first time, and I didn't like a lot of things that I have now in place. I learned throughout the time of building this group. So when we first started off, we had maybe 100, 200 people in the group. It wasn't a whole lot of people. And so I started with that brunch, and then I started like just putting in there, hey, I want to go to such and such. You want to go to this? And so just trying to get people to like interact in there. They started doing introductions, and then they started planning their own things, which I very much encourage. Like plan your own, whatever you're interested in, put it in the group because you might find somebody that's interested in also. I don't have to plan everything. So it's like,
Right.
um, so that started with that. We were very small for a while, then it slowly started growing once more people started seeing like pictures and everything else of us out. And then last year I started utilizing our public pages on
Mm,
Instagram and Facebook. So I would put like pictures of the outings and everything. Our group is completely private, so that has to be you have to be entered in. And so I just put pictures on the regular pages. Any events that are big, like our pink brunch or like the Black Girl Picnic or anything like that, those go on our public pages so that everybody can see. But like our brunches, our girls' night out, and everything that's only in the group. So only people in the group can see those. Um, but yeah, so that's what kind of helped grow it was when I started using public pages. So they can see, other people can see, and then I started putting in other groups that I'm in, like Casey, Boss Babes, and then some other groups that are local have women
hmm
people that we can get a hold of to come to the group. So they really started growing then. And then we had the Black Girl Picnic this year and it went viral. And then we had a tremendous growth of people beginning of this year when we first put that information out. And we just had loads of people trying to join the group after they saw that. But yeah, that's what really catapulted us this year was the Black Girl Picnic.
Mm. Yeah, I have yet to. I think when you had it, my daughter was like maybe 6 weeks old. I was
Oh
like, you
yeah.
gotta catch it next time. But that's awesome. But it kind of feels like for me, there's such a need, right? Just how quickly
Mhm.
you said it. It wouldn't, maybe not quickly, but how like, oh, I see it. Okay. Because it was just lacking a little bit of awareness. But as soon as people saw it, they're like, oh, I see the value in it. Because I know for me, I'm in a couple of groups, and I feel like some of them are like, niche kind of. And I feel like, well, we'll get into this, but I just feel like I've seen them overall just because I feel like I was in your group maybe 2 years ago, but I never introduced myself. And then all
Oh,
of a sudden
okay.
people started introducing themselves. And then I was like, well, I think I did that already. So no need to do that. And then I had realized, oh no, you didn't. And so then maybe I need to do that, and then things will kind of pop off the way I wanted to. But like you were saying earlier, life was lifing.
Hmm.
But I think it's what I really appreciate about your group is that you are having these events, so you're kind of taking that offline a little bit. I'm curious, like, how do you continue to like foster that sense of community, either within the group or externally?
So, um, the community aspect, I'm very big on having safe communities. That's why the group is private and not anybody can just get in there. It's just for Black women in the Kansas City area. But a lot of our events are catered towards Black women. So I wanted to create just third spaces for Black women because it's not always easy to make friends online. It can be a beginning point where you chat and everything's kind of like online dating, but you want to see somebody in person and you want to get catch the vibes. And so a lot of the friendships that I've seen, really develop, they started at the events that I do. So they met each
Mm,
other there and they've grown into really good friends. And I love to see it. And I tell people all the time, come out to an event. It's not always the best to try to find a friend online, especially in a group that's big, there's 5,000 people in there. You don't get to know everybody. Come out to an event and then you can really get a sense of people in person. It's just really, it's a lot easier just to talk in person. I feel like that's just how it is. And so the community aspect of it is so many people come that have been before, especially for like brunches and everything. We have a good amount of people that just come to all my stuff, and so we we start developing these relationships. Like I know a lot of people. I always tell people I know a lot of people. I'm not friends with a lot of people. I just end up knowing a lot of people, and so I feel like I've created a good community of Black women from the area, and I use myself as an example because it can be for anybody. If you keep coming out, if you keep, fostering relationships, you keep communicating, even online, um, checking in on people, you can start creating that community because a lot of people don't have that here. A lot of people, that's why I created it really. So many people aren't from here. And so
mhm.
they come and they're like, where are the Black people? Where are the Black, where are the Black
Big
people in Kansas
facts.
City? And so this
We
one, like,
here.
I didn't know there was this many Black women in Kansas City. I'm like, there's lots of Black women in Kansas City. But and so that's the whole point, was just creating this community where we can feel safe here. And in our events, when we have outings and everything, it's a safe space for everybody to come and
Gotcha.
we can discuss and everything.
So you're like, take so just generically, because this is for folks in Kansas City and the listeners are vast, but I'm just from my perspective of trying to go offline to on, or I'm sorry, online to offline, what you're saying is kind of accurate because I'm in another group, like a mommy breastfeeding group.
Mhm.
And I met her at the support group and now we're like texting buddies. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna go get coffee one day with our kiddos. It's gonna be great. So yeah, just that having I feel like even a lot of the events that you have, or even just like the side events that people are like, oh, I'm gonna go shopping here. Because for me, you're an extroverted. I'm secretly an introvert, just trying to be an
Mhm.
extrovert. Um, I need to do something nichey, like, oh, if you want to
Uh-huh.
go do yoga, I got you. Like, I want to pop up for that. Something that you are liking. I feel like that's how I've started to figure out how to move from folks online to offline. I don't know what group it was in, but for me, I there's I connected with two girls, and we just went and got facials one time, and then we went to do this like whiskey drink tasting thing. Now,
Mhm.
unbeknown to them, that's when I was pregnant, so I wasn't drinking, but it was great. It was just sneaky, but it was good, kind of seeing like being sober and being able to see them
Mhm.
in their element. And then we'd sung karaoke, and then we just kept in touch since then. And so I feel like that was a really good way to continue to cultivate a relationship. But I also really appreciate what you're saying about just as women, Black women, it is so challenging just to kind of keep that relationship going. Because, like I said in the beginning of this conversation, yeah, proximity is probably the most obvious reason. And I feel like back in the day, reason that we don't make friends. I feel like back in the day when you were going off to work, it was folks your age or folks that looked like you or folks that believed whatever you believe. Now it's like, which is great. And now it's all different type of ages and you can, work with somebody in their 60s and up, or you can work with somebody that's 18, 19, 20. It just kind of depends on what kind of thing you do. But you lose that proximity you had when you guys were all around the same age, all, matriculating through school or whatever. So I do feel like that's why we see your group and groups like it really resonate with folks because we're all out here trying to figure this thing out and we don't want to be lonely because I know there's like a global epidemic for being people being lonely. Does any of that
Yeah.
resonate with you?
It does. And so honestly, I created it for that reason and because there's a lot of stereotypes with Black women in friendships and us being catty and us not being able to be together in positive spaces. And I wanted to kind of just like prove that wrong. And so that's one of the reasons when people ask me about Black American friends, it really was just to change that stereotype.
Mm,
I feel like there's just so many negative things about Black women said all the time. And to change the stereotype, but also give us a space where we don't have to be something else than we are. So like just a
right.
place for us to let our hair down and be us naturally and unapologetically with other Black women that are being that unapologetically. We don't have people telling us what we need to be. We don't have people telling us, oh, you too loud or you're too aggressive or any, there's just so many stereotypes of Black women, period. And with Black women in friendships. So
Hmm.
just seeing that in a positive space, like when we did the picnic, just looking around at so many Black women just like having a great time and mingling and everything, it literally like I was tearing up because I was like, this is exactly what
Mm,
I wanted when I started it. Like
right.
this was my vision. Like just hundreds of Black women
Mm.
enjoying nature outside, picnicking, dancing together. We had, you know, dance lines, all kind of stuff. It was just so good. So good.
You're outside, huh? That's beautiful. So I don't I might d dive deeper into this question. Do you have any specific tips for folks that are trying to make friendships online, how they can take it offline?
So if you're online, it depends. So if you're in a group like mine, I would suggest putting yourself out there. And I know it's not easy for everyone, but if you want to make friends, you have to get over the fear of putting yourself out there. Um, because no one's gonna come find you. As much as
Hmm.
people want to be like, oh, somebody will come and be my friend eventually, and you don't respond to anybody on social media, or you don't respond, and you don't initiate anything, it's going to be very, very hard for you to make friends. It's really about getting over that fear of rejection. I feel like that happens a lot with both romantic and platonic
Yeah.
relationships.
Right.
It's a very much a fear of rejection. And understanding that it will happen. Like I've been like I'm not friends with everybody. So it's like I'm not for everybody, and you aren't for everybody, and understanding that there is still some people for you.
Right.
Um, and it takes it takes time to develop those
Hmm.
relationships. So understanding that it's not immediate. I know everybody wants to have that best friend that they can talk to about everything. It takes time to build those relationships very much. And so I have a few friends that I've met in my group actually that we have developed really good friendships, but we have met each other a year and a half ago. And now we're at the point where I can call them up for anything and I can text them for anything and they come over because I just moved and they came and helped me put my stuff together. And like those friendships, that was a year and a half ago where we're now taking trips together and that type of stuff. We went to Nashville. And so it was just like it takes time to get there and
Yeah.
understanding that it's not immediate. As much as I want it to be, it's not. So being patient with that process, but staying in the process. Don't let your pride, if someone's not responding to you or anything else, people are going through things. It's
Hmm.
we're going through post-pandemic life. The recession is crazy. The finances are crazy. People have kids, especially the
Right.
kids.
Life be life and Danny.
People life be life. So
Okay.
understanding that they're not always going to be available for you. And
Right.
if you need that type of person, you have to find a friend like that. And
Yeah.
you also have to be that type of friend back.
Hmm.
So if you know that you are very spontaneous and you like to go real fast, you want a friend that can go, you might not want to make friends with someone who has a kid or someone who has a career that they can't just get up and move and do all that stuff. You can have those friends, but you want to
Right.
have friends that you can move with also.
Hmm.
And so it's really about knowing what you want in a friendship and finding those people that fit that mold that you need. So it's okay to be picky about who choose to be your friend because you don't
Right.
want to ever be with somebody, friends with somebody, and they're like oh, I can't be friends with you anymore because you're not ready for this and this and this. Like you knew
Yeah.
that. You know when you met
Yeah.
me. And
Which is clutch when when there's the introductions, especially for the people that call out like, oh, I'm not interested in like kids
uh-huh.
or that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Uh-huh. And that's why I tell people don't take offense to those posts. They're telling you what they want, and it's great to
Mm-hmm.
know that so that you don't end up in trying to make friends with somebody and you're wondering why they're not responding to you or wondering why they're not reaching out to you. They told you that they don't want anybody with kids. If you have a kid, it's okay. Like you'll
Yeah.
find your mom friends. We have a whole chat with moms and kids. We have play dates and we have all this other stuff. And I met some mom friends. Surprisingly, most of my really close friends that I've met in the group don't have kids, but but they're still amazing and they
Right.
love my
Absolutely.
child. And so but it's very important if you have friends who don't have kids, understanding that they're not going to always want to come around sometimes or anything. But I have some really good friends. They love my kid like down. They'll watch her for me, they'll do everything. And so I'm just like, I love that. And so just finding those people that are like that is very important to be making friends. And that's why I said it's just like dating. You really have to like go in there with very open communications of what you expect
Mm,
and that's why we do speed
yeah.
besties. You get that time. It's speed besties. Well, short amount of time, it's speed dating, but
Right.
you can talk to each other one on one and like really open up that level of communication with each other so that you know what you want in a friendship and you can
Mm.
very, yeah.
Be able to seek it out. Because when
Yeah.
you're talking about like qualifications. I'm gonna give you a moment to think about this. When I think about because I'm gonna ask you the same thing. When I think about like a qualification of like a good friend, like it's not always somebody that's like texting me all the time, but it's like
Hmm.
if I say, "Hey, can you talk?" and that
Hmm.
person can talk with me on the phone for 30 to 45 to an hour, you're good. Like
Yeah.
I have friends that I don't talk to them for months. Like they live in other states. But if I can talk with you or something I know you can relate to is happening and we can talk through whatever I'm going through for 45 minutes, like that is my definition of a good friend. Like showing up for me is wonderful, but like being knowing that I can have your full attention for a solid second is
Hmm.
awesome. Do you have any qualifications that you like? Yeah, that's I look for that.
So for my qualifications, I can't, just because of the stage of my life right now, I can't have somebody who needs to be talked to every day. I don't talk to my friends every day. And they're really still just amazing friends. We don't talk every day. And we have times where we go all week talking to each other, like talking about stuff. We have something coming up, like one of my friends is getting married. And so we all went to Nashville for her bachelorette. And
Mm,
leading up to that, we were talking every day, like all the time, like, oh, what are you hacking everything? And so we were talking all the time. And then we get back and we checked in with each other, blah, blah, blah. And then we talked to each other for a minute. And then we reach back out and we're like, oh, how's the weekend going? Blah, blah. That's the type of friend I need right now, just because I'm not available all the time. Um, but I'm there for you when you need me. And so
boom.
like you give me a date and I'm there. And so that's how my one of my really good friends, the one who's getting married, she's like that for me. Like if I have something and she can be there, she's there. If I
Mm-hmm.
moved, she was here. Like, and she like I can depend on you when I need you. That's
Yeah.
very important to me. That's a very much a qualification. If I find myself always being there for you and you're never there for me,
Right.
that's when it starts being, I can't have a one-sided relationship ever. Like relationship, friendship, either one. It cannot be one-sided. And so just that's a very much a qualification. I have like we don't have to talk every day, but when we need each other, we're there for each other. And so um but yeah, that's like one of my biggest ones. I don't have like qualifications for like kids or no kids. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't have
I love
qualifications
that
for
though.
like age or anything. Like most of my friends are older than me. A lot of people think I'm in my 30s because already, just because of how I act and like created the groups and all this stuff. They always think I'm in my 30s. And when I tell them I'm 27, they're like, what? And I'm like, but
Yeah.
all my
When
friends
you
are
call them out for not knowing the Backstreet Boys are in sync, it's fine.
I'm
Yeah.
crying. But most of my friends are like already 30 into their 30s, and my friend is getting married. She's 31. And so it's just like I just gravitate towards 30-year-olds for some reason. Like I just relate more with them. And so it's just, but I have some friends that are younger than me. I have some friends like I like to go in between ages. I have some friends that are my mama's age, and like they're really dope because I get a lot of wisdom from them. And like my mom, and
Right.
like it's just
You need the
to have
aunties, you know what I'm
that
saying?
variation. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like when I see people out, like especially in the group, they're like, what age is in here and everything. I said, it's every age. I promise you. There's so many ages in here. You don't have to worry about it. Like, just come out and meet people. But yeah, qualification wise, that's really the only thing I need you to be. I need to be able to depend on you when we get to that stage. Like when we're first starting out, we're just talking and getting to know each other. But in the end, I got to be able to depend on you, and you got to be able to depend on me. Like I got to be able to be there for you. And so that's very important to me, to show up for each other in those
Right.
important moments, in those moments that we need each other. If they're available. Like I understand life happens, and some
Right.
people aren't available at that moment, and you can't expect people to be. Everybody has life to live, and so
Absolutely.
but it's not something that's like immediately you didn't show up to me for this one time and I'm not. Like it's got to be a secret a sequence of events where it didn't happen. But that's just a very much a requirement for me.
I love that for you. Is there any
It's the next
that's in
thing.
the works? Okay, just one final question. If there's anything else you share, then I'll give you the space for that too.
Mhm.
But like just and you kind of mentioned this, but in growing this group, have you seen any like personal growth for yourself, either just like from a professional perspective? Because frankly, girl, I'm listening to you. This kind of sounds like a little bit of work, or just like even with your friends.
So with this group, I definitely have seen a professional change. Before, I mean, I'm born and raised in Kansas City, but now, like, people see me and they're like, "Oh, I know you. You're Danny," and I'm like, I don't know you, but they know me, and it's just weird to be like that now because I'm like, my mom always like, "Oh, you're gonna be famous one day," and I'm like, "No." so, so she was like, "But you're getting out there and everything." And my nana, and like now that I've been doing interviews and like I did a few radio shows, I've done some publications for magazines, and now I just was selected to be a panelist at the Kansas City Conference for Women in October. So I'm really excited about that. I get to talk about community building with some other ladies that built some awesome communities in Kansas City. So that's really dope. And so like putting myself out there and like networking and getting to know people. I know a lot of people now like that I've really connected with just to help me and then me turn around and help them with their events and everything else. And so it's really dope getting to know so many people that are like amazing in Kansas City. Like I never thought I had so many connections with people that I have now. And so that definitely is something new for me because like
Mhm.
professionally, I never thought I would be here. Um, but I love it. I love it. And so, because I'm a true extrovert, you guys. I love it. I love the
Abs-
opportunity to get out in public speak and like I find myself being better and better at, and not as
mhm.
nervous, speaking in front of people about this group and what I've created with the help of my amazing team. But yeah, that and then friendship wise, I've really worked on how I am a friend because I want to be living what I tell people. And so
Right.
really working on my communication and everything else and um being there for other people like I want them to be there for me so that I'm able to share my good works for people. So I read
Mm-mm.
books. I read as you can see, I read books. But
Yes,
I
tons of
love
books
to
behind
read
her.
books on Black women and sisterhood. So Sisterhood Heals is one of my favorite books currently. It's by the creator of Black Girl Therapy for Black Girls. Lord,
Oh.
I think her name. But yeah, so she created Therapy for Black Girls, the online site. She's a therapist. And she wrote this book called Sisterhood Heals, and it's all about Black
Mm.
women and sisterhood in online forms and in person. And I absolutely love it. We actually read it. I put it out as a read for the group. So a few of us read it in the group and discussed it. Um, but it's such a good book. And now I'm about to read The Sisters Are All Right with Black and Brown, their feminist book club. And it's also about Black women and sisters
Mm.
and everything else. So I'm really excited to read that. I just bought it, but yeah. So I love to read books about developing sisterhood, and that's one thing I really suggest. This Sisterhood Heals. It's such a good book. It really makes you dive deep into your personal relationships with women, Black women, online and in person, because
Wow.
online is very important that a lot of people don't like the code for interacting with each other online. A lot of us don't follow it. But being gentle online and correcting each other's crowns in private and not online
Wow.
is very
Wow.
important. And so
Hmm.
that's a really good book. And so I read those. I put that knowledge out into the group so that women, not everybody like to read, but I like to take things I learned that book, the books that I read, and put it out there as advice for the women. Like, hey, these are great tips for you in creating friendships. Please use them.
I love that. Well, Danny, if you don't have anything else to add, I'd love to play a little game with you of marry, date, or dump. You ready? I feel like I
Okay,
needed like a
I'm
ding,
ready.
ding, 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 ding type of thing. Okay, so here is the first one for you, and I feel like I don't know all your platforms, so this might be funky. Or which one you marrying, which one you dating, which one you dumping? Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook? I feel like you have to marry Facebook, right? Like
Yeah, I have to marry Facebook. Dating LinkedIn because it's just so it's so resourceful. I love LinkedIn. And then dang, I have to dump Instagram. I love Instagram. Dang.
me too.
But
You know,
if
you
out of
no one
all
said you
those,
can't have a menage a trois now, dang.
yeah, good. But if all of those, LinkedIn has to stay. It's just so resourceful. I know if people use LinkedIn actually to the capacity that it is.
Fullest.
But
Yeah,
LinkedIn is great. Use it.
absolutely. Okay. Next one. Family time, like girlfriend time or
Uh-huh.
me time. Which one you dating, which one you dumping? Wait, which one you marrying, which one you dating, which one you dumping? There we go.
Marrying would have to be me time. It's just too important, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Um, I would date the family time. Unfortunately, I had to deal with the girl time if it had to come to it. Family and me come first, all right?
Absolutely. I love that. And I feel like that's one thing I've as I'm having my own family, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, my girls, I need you, but like, my man, and my girl, my
Uh-huh.
daughter, my daughter. It's just it's important too that
It's very
that unit
important.
is very important. And then, sister, mother, dad, that kind of thing. The core
Yeah.
four, as I call them, that's also super heavy for me. Last one. So mindless TV, like your reality show or whatever you like, a Target run, or Starbucks.
Um, Target Run is definitely married. Mindless TV, dating, and then I could dump Starbucks. I don't drink Starbucks. So
Fair enough.
oh, we can go.
Absolutely. Oh, Danny, it's been awesome talking with you. We are going on to the positive tip, but Danny, you stay there. The positive tip. My biggest takeaway from listening to Danny and I's, reliving Danny and I's conversation, was the fact of how you got to take those conversations from the comments, from the DMs, from the chats, or whatever. You know, have those little mini chats in real life. And that's hard for an introverted chica like me. But don't be afraid because you might, like she said, you might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're going to be somebody's yum. We're not ever yucking nobody's yum. I hear a lot of people are getting into matchas. I've been a matcha girly. So you're going to find your matcha girly, but you have to put yourself out there. You have to continue doing the thing that you want to be and be in the space that you want to be in. Regardless if it's about making a friend or getting that job or whatever the case it is. I don't know why that came to my mind, but like making the friend, getting that job, moving up in that career, getting that degree, whatever the case might be, put yourself in the position to be able to get to that. Put yourself out there. Network. Yes, it's very helpful. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from the whole conversation. So, as always, if you gain value from this conversation, this podcast, please share it with a friend. You can find me on social media under Young Black Misses, and you can check out my website, youngblackmisses.com, posting a few blogs out there, and you can find the full description of this podcast. If you're watching me on YouTube, hey, subscribe and share with a friend. I'm cute on here, ain't I, friend? Yes, I'm looking luscious and jazzy with my little hair. Um, yeah, can continue to hoping to continue to grow my YouTube channel and so for my fellow listeners that have been riding with me for so long, I thank you so much for listening. And you already know, as always, peace. That was really weak. I should try it again. Nope, leave it in. Peace.